Hey guys, Matt from Total MTG here, and we're on episode 2 of All About the Brew. First of all, let me just start saying thanks for the great response on last week's episode, on the first episode. Loads of brilliant brews in, loads of comments, you know, everything just likes, everyone just loved it. So glad that this series hopefully is going to take off. Like I said, I received lots of great decks. Prowess buff decks, a great deck involving Howling Minds. Burn deck. There was a Sahili combo deck that was absolutely brilliant. Ambush Is It deck. There was just loads, you know, too many for me to mention. But, you know, I am going to not pick the best bet. This is just a deck that caught my eye that I thought, yep, I could have picked all of them. Like I said, they were all brilliant brews. But the one I'm picking is by Ken Shockley. His deck was called Herald of the Lupine Artifacts. And you should be able to see it on screen now, as long as my editing's fine. So we have a look at the creatures he runs. Barrage Tyrant. It's a 5/3, 4 and a red. It's basically an artifact deck with blue and red, obviously colourless as well. This is a 5/3. You sacrifice another colourless creature. It deals damage equal to sacrifice creature power to target creature or player for 2 and a red. There's also used cards that are coming out from Kaladesh. You know, that's what I liked about this deck as well. That is, you know, thinking ahead, brewing with some of the Kaladesh cards. Chief of the Foundry's back. Artifact creatures cost get extra +1/1, which is great. It's a 2/3 for 3 as well. Foundry Inspector from the new set will be as well. Artifact spells cost 1 less to cast, and it's a 3/2 for 3. Gone for a bit of ramp with the Hedron Crawler, cost 2. Tap it for a colourless, and it's a 0/1. Herald of Kozilek, colourless spells cost 1 less to cast. It's devoid, obviously, and it's a 2/4, cost 1 a red and a blue. Lupine Prototype, one of the cards I've been looking to try and build around. I do like this card. It's a 5/5 for 2. But when can't attack or block unless a player has no cards in their hand. So obviously, you know, has stipulations, but it could be a very good. You know, 5/5 for 2 is not going to be. It's not going to be bad. So we'll have a look at what the instance has got. It's got instance to protect himself. Titan's Presence, which reveal a colourless creature card. You would get to exile a creature with a reveal card's power. A turn aside to protect your creatures. Counter spell to permanents. And Fool's Playset of Void Shatters as well. Also runs a couple of, which will be coming from Kaladesh, Key to the City. Cost 2, you tap it, discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can be blocked this turn. When it becomes untapped, you can pay 2 to draw a card if you chose to. You might not want to, but you can. Obviously, you might want to discard the cards. Will work well with Lupine Prototype. If you want to, you know, just dish your hand out. You've got artifact spells that are going to make it all cost less. You know, it's a pretty sweet deck. I really like it, and hopefully, you know, like I said, I will be building some of these decks, and you might be able to get them up in the MTGO. The lands it runs is 11 islands, 7 mountains, and 4 of the new Spiral Bluff canals. So, if we look at, you know, in Ken's words, what he actually read, you know, he said the plan is twofold. He likes to work with contingencies. The first of which is like a Hellbent plan. You get to reduce spell reduction creatures like Herald of Kozilek, Foundry Inspector to empty your hand just a little bit quicker. And he went for a little bit of added ramp, like I said, with the Hedron Crawler instead of maybe using Eldrazi Mimic. Second win column is down to Barrage Tyrant mid-game. Prototype, you know, the Lupine Prototype might be a bit useless. Might not be able to attack or block with it, but you might be able to sacrifice it, do some damage that way. And the Chief of the Foundry is there to obviously provide like the Anthem effect for all the artifact creatures, make them all just that little bit bigger, and you can do more damage as well. Counter spells are obviously self-explanatory. The protection spells, you know, a little bit of kill with the other spell. But that's kind of it. I really do like the deck. You know, all the decks were absolutely brilliant, to be honest. So, you know, don't be disappointed I didn't feature yours. I was just, like I said, I mentioned quite a few that I mentioned earlier. But they were all great decks. Just really like Ken's deck. You know, he calls himself a very bad Magic player, but he's not that bad, I don't think. So, we're going to go on to next week's colours. Now, you know, I'm going to go for something a little bit more testing than Is It. Is It was up there last week. Was the red and the blue. It was a little bit easier, but this week I'm going to go for June. So June is red, black, green and white. Same stipulations as last week. Email me with your deck lists. You've got the email which will be in the description below, which is totalmtg1@gmail.com. Or you can leave your links in the descriptions of this video. So what you want to do is build either a standard or modern deck with June. So your colours are red, black, green and white. Obviously you've got to use them all to make it a little bit more interesting, but this is a totally different deck. It's gonna test your creativity, it's gonna test your skills a bit more. Using these 4 colours, the lands are obviously gonna be very interesting. Just have fun with it, build some decks, let me know, and send them in to me like last week. And then what I would do the same, pick out one of my faves, and then we'll go from there. Anyway guys, really hope you enjoyed this season. Thanks a lot to everyone that entered, sent in their brilliant decks. And well done, Ken, for making a great deck there as well that I featured. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll see you all next week. Cheers, guys.